Tonight we have two different severe weather scenarios that are unfolding. The THV weather team will explain them both to you and let you know what you can expect and how to keep you prepared.
Thanks, Ed. Our first priority is keeping our Kansans safe. Plus, Arkansas lawmakers are discussing a bill to allow people to carry guns without a permit. And Amazon purchases possible loopholes on how to bypass sales taxes that go into effect March 1st. Your news starts now.
This is THV11 News at 5.
Strong thunderstorms developing right now, bringing possible damaging winds and even tornadoes.
Chief Meteorologist Ed Buckner is tracking this system and joins us now with what's going on. Ed?
Ruiz and I have been tracking the storms all afternoon long. They popped up about an hour and a half ago out toward the west of Little Rock. They became marginally severe for a while, but now they are severe, producing some very large hail and some strong damaging wind. Let me talk you through what we're looking at here. First of all, the big area you see on the radar of yellow, that indicates a tornado watch that's in effect until 10 o'clock this evening. There you see the tornado watch till 10 o'clock for a good part of central and north Arkansas. But more locally, we do have a couple of thunderstorm warnings. These storms are moving through the Hot Springs area. Right now, this warning is for Garland and Montgomery County for another 15 minutes or so. Large hail, ping pong ball sized hail and gusty winds. Another warning till 5:15 that includes the rest of Perry County, Saline, and Pulaski County. A very small part of extreme western Pulaski County. Large hail, so far the main threat. These have not shown much in the way of tornadic development yet, but I want to point something out on our 3D view. You can see how these storms are leaning to the right. Okay, they're leaning to the right a little bit. There are some pretty strong upper level winds coming from the west and northwest, so there's quite a bit of directional wind shear in the atmosphere. If these storms do get under the right conditions, they could produce tornadoes as well. But right now, lightning, hail, and of course very heavy rain with those storms. And they're not even into the area where the greatest risk is. That'll be north of Little Rock, from Russellville to Searcy northward, where we have that enhanced risk for severe weather overnight. So here's your threat. The threat will be till about 7 o'clock in the morning. Tornadoes, moderate risk of seeing some of those, but the main threat will be large hail and of course damaging wind. We'll talk much more about it and show you the timeline coming up in weather.
At the Capitol today, a new proposal would allow you to carry a handgun without a license. This is a story that's been getting a lot of attention on our THV11 social media pages. THV11's Winnie Wright is here to explain.
A bill that would allow you to carry a gun without a license will be taken up before this legislature, though many say that's already the law in Arkansas.
I've heard from hundreds of people across the state and in my district wanting constitutional carry.
That's why Senator Trent Garner says he filed Senate Bill 444.
They keep asking the same question. Why should they have to pay a fee to exercise their constitutional right? And as I got to thinking about that, and it's something I've been passionate about for a while, I thought it was time to act, to file SB 444 so we have true constitutional carry here in the state of Arkansas.
If making the training for concealed carry license more accessible is something we need to consider, let's have that conversation. Let's not just try to get rid of all those kinds of safeguards.
Representative Greg Letting says some believe Arkansas already has open carry.
There was a bill that we passed in 2013 that lawmakers thought was just cleaning up a little bit of language in a bill, but after we passed it, there were some people who interpreted it as having legalized open carry.
Senator Garner says he thinks his bill could answer those questions once and for all.
I think this will clear up the language and expand it to more areas as well.
Tonight on THV11 News at 6, an opinion from the Attorney General, where campus carry fits in all this, and opinions from our THV11 Facebook fans.
President Trump is just hours away from his first address to a joint session of Congress. He's expected to make some gestures to unify the country. CBS's Weijia Zhang has a preview.
President Trump spent a busy afternoon signing bills and executive orders ahead of his address to a joint session of Congress.
So how important is this? Huge.
One of those orders mandates a review of an Obama administration rule written to protect small bodies of water from pollution. In an interview with Fox News Channel's Fox and Friends, President Trump acknowledged there's room for improving his message.
I think I get an A in terms of what I've actually done, but in terms of messaging, I'd give myself a C or a C+.
His speech tonight will be optimistic, according to senior White House officials. President Trump will focus on the economy and national security. GOP lawmakers are eager to hear policy specifics, especially some concrete direction for repealing and replacing Obamacare.
We have an obligation to step in front of this collapse and replace it with a better system, and that's what we are about doing.
To date, Democrats see the 45th president's actions as divisive, but say a little outreach could go a long way.
We could work together to fix what's not working in the Affordable Care Act. We could work together to rebuild our roads and bridges, but we're waiting.
President Trump's budget priorities are already facing some congressional resistance. He is pitching a 10% increase in military spending and $54 billion in cuts to most government agencies and foreign aid. Weijia Zhang, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
The speech is set to start at 8 p.m. our time, but be prepared if there is severe weather. We will be cutting out of the speech because, of course, keeping Arkansans safe is our first priority.
Senator Tom Cotton is holding a tele-town hall tonight ahead of President Trump's address to Congress. Arkansans can stream the audio of the tele-town hall and submit questions to Senator Cotton. And remember, the senator just held a town hall in Springdale last week. Well, tonight starts at 5:40. More information, head to our website, THV11.com.
A recent study ranks Arkansas as the worst state in the country for health care. Amanda Yeager asked Governor Hutchinson what efforts are being made to change that.
Well, Denise, the U.S. News and World Report study examined all 50 states on factors like crime, infrastructure, opportunity, and health care. Arkansas ranked in the bottom 5 for all of those sections and the worst state in the country for health care. Governor Hutchinson today spoke about his recent trip to D.C. and what Arkansas is doing to improve health care. He joined governors across the country as they discussed possible replacement ideas for the Affordable Care Act. The governor said a major goal was to give states more flexibility to make independent health care decisions. I asked him why he thinks a recent study ranks Arkansas as the worst in areas like access to care and overall public health, and what the state can do to improve. He said fixing the problems with Arkansas Works is the main priority.
Certainly Arkansas Works, whenever it is implemented in the right way with the right reforms, is desired to have a healthy outcome. For example, we want to incentivize annual checkups, and that's one of the things that we're putting into play. Is
the governor also says he would like to see more Arkansans shifted onto the National Health Care Exchange rather than Medicaid. Now, the governor does plan to announce further details on a more comprehensive plan regarding changes to Arkansas Works. That can be expected here within the next 6 to 8 weeks.
Thanks, Amanda. We have to bring this breaking weather information to you right now. A new tornado warning, or the first tornado warning of the afternoon, has just now been posted for Garland and northwestern Saline County. Garland and northwestern Saline County, you see it here in red. Tornado warning until 5:45. The storm is moving to the northeast at 40 miles an hour, and we're seeing some pretty significant rotation near Jessieville, right in this area. We're talking north of Hot Springs. Hot Springs proper, you're not in the path of this particular storm. But in our velocity display, you can clearly see there are a couple of areas here with inflow creating that rotation that we look for. That's why the Weather Service issued a tornado warning on this storm. There's some rotation showing up near Jessieville. So let me reread this to you as Marielle takes you on a little radar scope tour. There's a little bit of inflow here, but I'm thinking there's also a pretty significant rotation in this area as well. Moving to the northeast at 40 miles an hour, tornado along with ping pong ball sized hail are possible or imminent in this storm moving through northern parts of Garland County. Eventually, it will move into Saline County. Marielle, could we put a storm track on this location right here where that little donut hole is? If we could do a storm track to the northeast at 40, give you some locations that are in the path of this storm. Again, flying debris will be a threat here. Jessieville, you're under the gun right now. You're just a couple of minutes away from possibly seeing this tornado. Again, Jessieville and then Perrin at 5:35. So a pretty rural part of northwestern Garland County. And as we head into Saline County, northeastern Garland and northwestern Saline County as the storm moves northward. Should it hold together, it will eventually move up into extreme western parts of Pulaski County near Y Mountain and Pinnacle Mountain as well, and Ferndale. So we're watching this very, very closely. Other areas in the path of the storm: Hot Springs Village, Lake Washita State Park, Perrin, Jessieville, Lena Landing Recreation Area, and Hamilton. Okay, so again, keep your tornado rules in place. Let me check. Anything else going on from that, Marielle? Are we seeing any confirmation?
At the moment, not right now. It's just radar indicated with this tornado warning. What that means is that we don't have any eyes on this storm. So with this, we're just seeing a really strong rotation on radar, and we just showed you that, and I'll bring that up right now. And this storm definitely moving very fast. It's one of those storms that we've been monitoring all afternoon. We can see.
Yeah, that rotation looks a little bit.
Yeah, it looks a little bit more
tighter.
Yeah, and what Ed means by that is you see the red and the green as I'm take you over there. The red and the green are a bit closer together there. So green.
Inflow. Yeah, the rotation, the couplet showing up there on the velocity scan quite nicely. And earlier I did see there's still some rotation here, but this is on the tail end of the storm. And in other words, this gets a better inflow from the surrounding air. So this would probably be the part where the tornado would be stronger. If there's two funnels here or two areas of rotation, this would be the one that would have the most likely chance of strengthening. And that one there is near Mountain Pine. So,
yeah, and I'm going to go ahead and take you through with the velocity again.
Okay.
And I'm just going to take you through the entire storm. We did see that couplet right there. Really tight rotation just north of Mountain Pine.
Looks like it's strengthening a little bit.
It does look like it is strengthening, and you said you saw another rotation, right? Another
yeah,
couplet.
You had it earlier, but it's not nearly as strong. You're on it there on the radar. That one is not nearly as strong as it was earlier.
Yeah, so this is the one that we are keeping an eye on. And once again, this is a radar indicated. It means that we are seeing rotation on radar strong enough that could be a tornado. However, we don't have eyes on it. Just as a precaution, take shelter. If you are anywhere in this red box, keep in mind, try to go into your basement. If you don't have one, innermost portion of your home, stay away from windows. Stay away from the second floor. You want to be on the ground here, on the ground level if you can.
Good advice. Yeah, stay away from windows. Although, fortunately, this is a pretty rural area, but of course, folks live there, so we need to take our precautions. Now, what we're going to do right now is go to a quick break, and we're going to be right back with much more on this storm and your complete forecast and what you can expect as we head into the evening and overnight hours. Folks, this is just the very, very beginning of what could be a very bumpy night ahead. But again, repeating, nothing confirmed from this storm. There are signs of rotation, and as I look at it, it doesn't look that ominous to me on radar. That's not to say it's not a big deal. It is. We need to take precautions and seek shelter immediately in this area. But we're going to be right back after this break and give us some more time to delve into this and give you all you need to know as you head into the evening and overnight hours. You need to be safe, need to be prepared. We're going to bring you all that information coming up here in just a couple minutes. Stay with us. And welcome back again, everyone. Mariella Ruiz and I are tracking these severe thunderstorms. We do have one tornado warning that's in effect for a small part of northeastern Garland County that extends into parts of Pulaski County and Saline County as well. Let me talk you through it, starting with the radar picture, or rather, I'm sorry, a live look at what's going on in Conway. This is in Conway. The Mobile Command Center up there in Faulkner County wants to let you all know that they're getting everything ready for any severe weather that affects Faulkner County or the Conway area as well this evening. They've got everything ready to go. They're taking this threat very seriously as well. There's a live shot from Conway of what's going on up in Faulkner County. Just some dark clouds there. So fortunately, nothing going on just yet. But they are in the path of what could be a tornado. Now, here's what's going on right now. All of the yellow counties, central and north Arkansas, under a tornado watch till 10 o'clock tonight. As I take you in a little bit closer here, these storms popped up, about an hour and a half ago. The sunlight, the afternoon heating, really in the higher elevation of the mountains helped produce these thunderstorms. And once they got going, they approached severe limits, then they kind of weakened. They approached and weakened, kind of weighing back and forth. But right now, within the past 15 minutes, we have had a tornado warning issued for a storm showing significant rotation near Jessieville. We're talking north of Hot Springs Village, just to the west and north of Hot Springs Village in Garland County. The tornado moving to the northeast at 40 miles an hour. It'll be near Perrin here in the next 30 minutes or so. So right now it's right over Jessieville. Any rotation that we see there is over Jessieville, and then it will continue northeast at 40 near Perrin. And should this hold together, it will affect areas close to Ferndale and Y Mountain in western Pulaski County. So when you hear that northwestern Saline and western Pulaski County is in this warning area, it's just a very small part of the county, not the city of Little Rock proper. This is a 3D view of these storms. They're very significant. Lots of height here well into the atmosphere. Ping pong ball size hail, along with the threat for tornadoes and some gusty winds. At the lowest level here, just to the northwest of Hot Springs, I'm seeing just a little inflow notch right through here. And that's what I'm kind of wondering that we might see, that we could see at least, a little bit of a threat for some tornadic development. And I'm talking about right through here. You see how that wind is coming into the storm, the lowest level of that? That's creating this low level rotation because the winds aloft are pretty strong. The winds aloft are very, very strong, and that's what's causing these storms to tilt a little bit and lean toward the west. So there's enough wind shear in the atmosphere that it's worth noting these storms could easily become supercells. But right now, things are just looking pretty quiet for that one thunderstorm north of the village, north and west of Hot Springs Village near Jessieville, producing some rotation. Okay, but nothing. Go ahead. Can we turn on Marielle's mic, please? Go ahead, Marielle.
We do have an update for everyone now that that tornado warning, it is now in effect. If I can get that camera back. Here we go.
Anything confirmed or?
Nothing confirmed, but we do have that tornado warning. It's going to continue for Garland and Saline County now until 5:45. Okay. So the time has been extended on that. And we are seeing radar indication that baseball hail should be falling in northern Saline County. That's pretty significant. That's larger hail than what we were seeing about 10-15 minutes ago. So that intensity definitely going up there. Also,
there it is.
Yeah. Oh, there it is.
So yeah, we're getting.
Yeah, it's the blue that you see there, and on our radar, it's saying 1.3 inches with this hail, yeah. But that's about baseball size. So that's what we're seeing on radar. Let's see, that tornado warning now for Garland and Saline until 5:45, and they are seeing very pronounced rotation. We have spotters out there, pronounced rotation just north of Highway 192 and Highway 7. So.
Okay. We're talking about the northern Saline County storm here.
Right.
Taking you in just a little bit closer and putting on the velocity display again. Yep, and that's what we're looking at. So taking you in even closer, see if we can show some of those streets or county roads that are in this area.
So with these storms, we are seeing a pretty good inflow. What we mean by that is we're seeing air being lifted into the thunderstorm. It's kind of fueling it, and it is up ahead and kind of by itself. And we were talking about this on Facebook Live when there's a thunderstorm kind of not in a cluster. It's not competing with any of the surrounding areas for any energy, so definitely some area of concern. And what roads are we seeing there?
Mount Ida Road, Malone Trail. This is northwestern Saline County. Sulphur Springs Road. This storm is just to the north of Sulphur Springs Road in northwestern Saline County. The rotation is being indicated near Westbrook Road and where that connects with Mount Ida Road. So that, again, very rural part of northwestern Saline County. Actually, it's only from Perrin. We're talking about 7 miles to the southwest of Perrin, and it's moving right toward you.
Right.
Earlier, we did a storm track. Let's do another one based on where this is now toward Perrin.
And this was moving about 40 miles per hour at, you know, so.
So it's showing, and that's why they extended the warning now until 5:45. So another 25 minutes at least in this warning.
Yep. Very heavy rainfall right around it as well. You're probably experiencing, if you are in the area surrounding it, you're probably experiencing a really heavy breeze right now, and that is due to the dry air that was in place just underneath the thunderstorm So some pretty gusty winds coming out of this as well.
And of course, our hail indicator showing now 1.7-inch diameter hail. So yeah, you're talking closer to baseball, tennis ball size hail. There might be some melting with this, but regardless, this is going to do some damage.
Yeah.
Where you're seeing this on the radar screen, it's actually a little bit delayed. This hail core is a little farther north than what it's showing here. It's a little farther north, but the point still is, not to be taken lightly, that there's some damaging hail within the storm, and of course, that possibility of rotation in a tornado.
Yeah, northern Saline County probably seeing the largest of this hail, baseball sized or larger. Could be talking about very significant damage. Stay inside, folks. You don't want to go outside. You don't want to try to get a glimpse of this. Just it's safer just to stay inside.
Yes, now this storm, should it hold together, is going to move right into western Pulaski County, so would not be surprised if you hear the warnings or sirens going off in Pulaski County here in the next few minutes if that warning is extended a little farther off toward the north and east.
And it just has been extended, that tornado warning. Yeah, you can kind of see it.
Oh, it sure has. Let me turn that off.
Yeah, you can see it right there, and it has been extended. It's now including Faulkner, Perry, Pulaski, and Saline County. And not only has the area been extended, but the time as well. We're now going an additional 15 minutes. This is not set to expire until 6, and even then we could see this lengthen in time, so something to definitely keep a close eye on. And these are storms that developed hours ago, a couple of hours ago, and they, like Ed mentioned, they were strengthening and then kind of backing off and strengthening again. But as they moved toward the northeast, as they moved into central Arkansas, really tapping into very unstable air, so that's kind of the reason why they're kind of just holding up together, and they're increasing in intensity as they move towards the northeast. And Ed's putting a track on that at the moment.
Here's why they extended that, because it is moving northeast at 40, and that would include western Pulaski County here in the next 30 minutes or so. Little Italy is one of the only towns, communities showing up on this, but Maumelle, you're just beyond that scope, beyond this time range. Maumelle, you would be in the path, close to the path of this storm as well. Just depends if it moves a little bit more to the east or a little bit more toward the northeast, but either way you look at it, those communities near Ferndale, you're also right there in the path of that storm also. And again, this storm is interesting. I want to point out a couple of things. There are actually two notches here worth noting. There is the potential for rotation here, or there is rotation there, and the tail end of this storm, the farthest most south and western point of this line, is also very capable of producing the larger spin up. So there are two notches or two areas within this cell that I'm concerned about that are both moving off to the north and east. So this latest warning is worded like this: the storm capable of producing a tornado was 7 miles south of Williams Junction, that's out there on the Pulaski County line, or 12 miles northeast of Hot Springs Village, moving to the northeast at 40, okay? Tornado possible in hail up to 3 inches in diameter now. So this is a supercell storm barreling off toward the northeast, toward western parts of Pulaski, extreme western Pulaski County. And this is a good time to alert all of you that this storm will not affect Little Rock proper, okay? The sirens may go off. Pulaski County is going under this warning, but the farthest northwestern corner of the county is the area that we're concerned about. Maumelle and eventually Mayflower, you know what to do. Hopefully everyone out there knows their tornado precautions and knows what to do to stay safe in this event. This is going to be, possibly be a long evening with more storms forming. That was the latest on the latest issuance of that warning. So again, that is until 6 o'clock. It includes Saline, Perry, Pulaski, Faulkner counties. Perry, Pulaski, Saline, and Faulkner counties till 6 o'clock this evening. Storm is moving to the northeast at 40 miles an hour. So there are two different areas that we're watching. Here's the farthest most storm, northeast at 40. Perrin, you might get, you're going to be hit here twice possibly by some pretty intense wind and possible some tornado activity, or maybe even some large hail more likely in this storm. The hail indicator now backing down just a tad from the last scan, but still some pretty significant hail showing up. Is that working for you?
Yes, yes.
Brian, we're good on that. Thank you. The large hail now showing, yeah, still showing over 1.5 inches diameter.
It looks like it's that last warning down here.
Yeah, it is.
That they're keeping.
The refreshing our memory on that one. There's 2 warnings in effect basically, but they're kind of over the same area here.
Right. It's that. And like Ed mentioned, it's 2 supercells, and still seeing some tight rotation with those. So northern Saline County definitely seeing very high reflectivity on radar, meaning very large hail, and you can see that couplet there. When I mean a couplet, I mean a rotation. So the green that Ed's drawing out there, that's showing some inflow, and then you see the up rotation, the air moving the other way there, the red. Yeah. And so that's where you're seeing the tightest rotation, and that's all moving towards the northeast.
This storm is not showing up very clear on velocity scan, but I would not be surprised if there's something. It looks a little bit weaker than it did earlier, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Sure does.
The rotation's probably broadened a little bit, and that's that same storm. It was doing that earlier where you saw really tight rotation and then it kind of backed off, and we're seeing the same characteristics. It's probably, if I'm thinking about this correctly, the storm just to the northeast, that is taking up most of the energy. So it's the storm behind it. It's just kind of taking what's left over with that. So still a very dangerous storm, but because that other storm is to the northeast of it, not going to be as intense as what it could be.
So let's take you in a little bit closer again to where this tornado would most likely be touching the ground. There you see the town of Perrin. This tornado is not far at all from you in Perrin. We're talking 3 miles to your west, southwest maybe a little bit. So Perrin, seek shelter immediately. And again, should this storm hold together, let me show you something here. This, you see where Ferndale is in Pinnacle Mountain. We're only talking about a potential tornado, 15 miles away, 16 miles away from Pinnacle area, moving to the north of Ferndale, but it's going to come very close to you in Ferndale. So all of the folks in this area, all of you, Williams Junction to Maumelle to Mayflower, you've got some severe weather headed your way with the potential for a tornado. Now, the velocity scans that we're looking at are not, how do I word this without, they're not as strong as they could be.
Right.
Let's say that this is a dangerous storm.
Right. But we have been seeing the storm. The characteristics with this, with both of these little couplets is that they'll tighten, which means stronger storm, more of a rotation, and then they broaden. So less strength. And right now, I think we're in one of those less strength rotations, but I would not be surprised if they strengthen once again, just because that's what we've been seeing the past hour. And, the past 45 minutes or so, we've been seeing it more on the intense side. And we do have an emergency manager, Bob King, saying that the Jessieville Fire Department spotters reporting a funnel, not yet touching ground, but just a funnel, which is telling us that we're seeing very strong rotation near Jessieville, east of Highway 298 and Highway 7. And of course,
that was a few moments ago.
That was.
The latest radar scan that you see here on the right side of your screen is showing the rotation crossing Highway 9 now. It's a little bit less compact than it was earlier. There's still significant in and outflow here. There's rotation, no doubt, and it's still strong, but it's not as compact as it was a little while ago with this latest radar scan. It's just now crossing State Highway 9 near Perrin. I'm going to say north of Perrin, but actually if you're in Perrin, you need to seek shelter if you haven't already, because the storm is right over you, moving to the northeast very quickly. So with that in mind, we will go on to our next view and put another storm track on this based on its current location. Moving still to the northeast at 40. From Perrin to the northeast, that's going to put the storm Pilarm at 555, but this is not showing all the communities in between here and there. So Ferndale, you're close enough to this cone to be taking your precautions as well. Maumelle, if this storm just takes a little bit more of an easterly track instead of northeasterly track, you will also be in the path of that storm. But all this said, the rotation does not to be as tight, appear to be as tight as it was a little while ago. The formation is not the same, so that's a little bit of what I hope to be good news. Not to lose sight of what's going on, I'm thinking we're going to zoom out a little bit, show you what's going on across the state to give you your perspective. That's really the only show in town. You can see here not much going on with the radar elsewhere. other than these two storms, these two supercells that are kind of merging into one. And that also could be either A, could strengthen the tornado threat, or kind of make it go away, diminish that threat just a little bit, depending on how this works out. Another thing to consider is these storms are just now beginning to approach the area that the Storm Prediction Center is thinking the worst threat